Here it is, Queen of the Night, or Daiwa GekkaBijin Air TW. So in this video I will have a quick look at all the features and specifications this reel possesses. Also, as you can see, this reel has some line on the spool already, which means I tested this reel in the field or by the river already, but I won't talk about it too much in this video. But what I will do in this video is I will compare very quickly this Daiwa GekkaBijin to Tsurinoya Dark Wolf Ultra. I fished and used this reel in a field for probably 30 hours or so and caught really probably close to 100 fish on it, and I used this Daiwa only for 3-4 hours. So I will express what's the same on both those two reels and what's different. So if this is something you are interested in, stick around. So before going any further, I will quickly compare those two reels. I will take maybe a minute to explain what I noticed and what is different and what is similar in those two reels. First of all, size-wise, they are quite similar, but Daiwa poems a little bit nicer for my taste. Then, a lot of people really are interested in one thing and only one thing: how far they can cast. Again, I did not measure that, but I used the same lure on both reels, and this bad boy weighs about 2.3 grams, maybe 2.4 grams, but quite often I do shorten it. Anyway, let's say under 2.5 gram lure I did use with both reels, and I will say this, that maybe Daiwa casts like a meter further, but it's, again, I did not measure it and I would not put my money on it. So I will say this, that casting distance is very similar on both reels. Again, I used this one for longer, so I kinda know better how it can cast, and I do not know that Daiwa too well, but I was able to get the same distance, maybe a little bit more even with the Daiwa. But what is very different, casting accuracy. Daiwa is just, I don't know, magic, you can call whatever you like, but basically you kind of think that it would be good to get into some spot. You just perform some flick and your lure lands exactly there. With Tsurinoya, it's not like that. You have to work for a good cast, and you have to, like, you know, perform a couple of casts before you will make a good cast. I mean, I'm not talking open water fishing, I'm talking about fishing like in a tiny streams where you have like plenty of bushes, brushes, little sticks, branches, everything pretty much what can make or break your cast. And with this Daiwa, as I say, it's just like magic. You just perform a little flick and your lure lands exactly where you want. And you can repeat that as well. With Tsurinoya, I was not able to achieve that, like, or at least not as easy. Also, what is different and much better on Daiwa, that pitching. To pitch with Tsurinoya, you have to kind of mess up with your breaking, and still it's not as good. With Daiwa, it's quite easy, you know, to go from casting to pitching. It's actually very easy. I was very impressed with that, and you can get quite a good distance whilst pitching as well with no adjustment on your break, so that's awesome. Then one big point goes to Tsurinoya when it comes to the weight. This Daiwa is about 30 grams heavier, and you can feel it. On a light rod you definitely can feel it, that Daiwa is heavier. So then another very big one for Tsurinoya, price. So about 4 to 5 times this one is more expensive. So really the question is it 5 times better? It depends, I would say. If you are fishing just in tiny streams and you have to perform and repeat those good casts, like, then yes, it makes sense to pay five times more if you have the money. If you are fishing in open water, Tsurinoya is perfectly good reel. And like when it comes to the smoothness and drag and everything, they are very, very similar. But I would say that obviously Daiwa is a little bit smoother. Just it feels like buttery smooth, even though Tsurinoya is not like grinding at all. It's very, very nice and smooth reel. And even after, quite a bit of usage, still it performs and is still like new. So yeah, definitely like smoothness wise, I would not say that it's five times, more expensive. Maybe, like I would pay like 50% more for the smoothness of the Daiwa. So yeah, the main difference is, for me at least, in casting accuracy. When it comes to, difficult casts, with Daiwa you can repeat those casts and it's, it's kind of easy. It just goes like by magic, as they say. With Tsurinoya, it's hard work to get those complicated shots and repeatable shots, most importantly, and as well to get those, to kind of call those fish from their cover. Other than that, really, it's your call, guys. Five times more, or still performing very well reel, which casts more or less similarly, except for accuracy and pitching. But again, for open water, I would pick up the Tsurinoya instead of Daiwa quite easily, because really in open water I do not need, to be accurate like within 5 or 10 centimeters. With this Daiwa I can achieve that. With this Tsurinoya it would be quite difficult, at least for me. Maybe with practice, I will say that yes, you can do the same as you can do with Daiwa, but then if I would be able to do with Tsurinoya now what I can do with Daiwa, I'm not too sure what I would be able to do with Daiwa then. So it looked to me that Daiwa, for complicated casts, low trajectory casts and super accurate casts, is just much better. Then I would say yes, 5 times, kinda, it's not questionable, So yeah, I did my comparison, quick one, and not sure if that will be useful for you or not. Okay, now let's put that Tsurinoya aside and let's talk about Daiwa. So, as you can see, this reel is super slick. I mean, again, it looks like a very clean, very like sporty car looking reel. I mean, even the screws are hidden, from the inside. So, and that kind of shiny black finish looks very, very slick as well. Even though like looks of the reel for me really does not matter too much, as long as it's not, like pink or something like that, which might spook the fish. I'm happy with that. So yeah, those red elements do help for those nice looks as well. I will turn the reel around a little bit for you to look at it. Yeah, very, very slick looking reel. So now let's talk about the parts a little bit. Let's start maybe with the moving parts. So, and let's look for those wobbles first, I guess. So the handle actually is solid. Like if I will try to pull it out, it's solid, it does not budge. Not many reels actually I seen to be that solid, or would be that solid as this one. I mean, it just does not move. Then kind of rotational wobble or movement, again, non-existent. Solid. Then knobs, solid here, like, oh, it's solid. Probably one of the most solid knobs I ever seen. Maybe this one has a little bit. Yeah, this one has just slight little movement. But again, maybe I would be able to get it out, or maybe not. Not sure. I will leave it, I guess, for now. Then wobble on the thumb bar or spool releaser knob. In this position it's solid, no movement at all. In this position, again solid, no movement at all. Very, very nice to see. Now, let's talk about the spool tension knob. Again, it does not have clicks when you turn it, and it's kind of made of, not sure, plastic or kind of rubberized plastic maybe. No, it's not rubberized, it just feels like a plastic. And it has quite a bit of resistance, so by accident it's almost impossible to turn it, I guess. Then drag star, it's made out of carbon or Zion, and it has clicks. And I have to say that drag performance on this reel is just awesome, really good. And I would say that even though on the box I believe they state that it's about 4 kilos drag, I would say it's more. Let's say if Shimano says that, say on Corrado it has 3.5, so if if that's true on Corrado, then this has probably 7 or 8 kilos of drag. Probably Shimano was, you know, a little bit lying about that. So, but this is really good and powerful drag system. I love it. And the sound of the clicker is here as well, or it has a clicker if you like. So let's listen for it. I will hold the spool now. I wish it would be a little bit louder, but you know, I was able to hear those clicks quite well when I was fishing. So yeah, and the clicker does not change its like sound no matter the braking setting. So now I will go up a little bit, and you will see it will sound more or less the same. Very good to see that. Then we have another moving part, which is brake adjuster. So this design I was not too sure about, but that's my second Daiwa with this design, and it works very well actually. You will never ever, you know, flick it by accident, but if you will hear about it because it's very loud. It has clicker, which is very loud. Listen for it, guys. Very positive and loud. Yeah, good design, like it. Then let's see that spool, right? So to remove the side plate, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention. So the frame is aluminum or some kind of a metal alloy, if you like. And then the side plate from or above the gears is also aluminum or metal. So this reel feels solid in the hand, and also it has 12 plus 1 ball bearings, and all the bearings except one in the roller, I believe, are corrosion resistant bearings, so you can use this reel in salt water quite easily. And it was designed, I believe, for Japanese anglers who fish for mackerel in the sea, obviously. So yeah, this reel is okay for salt water as well, and obviously it's very well easy for this reel to cope with the fresh water. So anyway, let's get that spool out. So I flicked that switch before, and then you scratch almost the side plate, which is made out of plastic or carbon, not sure, out. You know, it's not easy to remove it, but with a little bit of effort you can do it. And here is a spool. So to talk about the spool, as you can see, the line lay is not the best really, so it has kind of clumps of line on each side, but I guess this is because that this reel shares the same frame and same parts for the most part of the reel from Daiwa Alpha Ser, and it has a wider spool, or maybe the same spool, but see those two ridges here. So the Daiwa Alphas does not have those two ridges. Therefore, this line lay. Again, when I was fishing a couple of times, line actually went onto those ridges, but maybe because I put a little bit too much of line onto the spool. But again, even though the line went a couple of times onto those ridges, nothing happened. I mean, I noticed that I had a couple of torts of line on one of them. I believe it was on the one which is closer to the gearbox, if you like. And I noticed that still I performed a cast. It went away, and then next time I retrieved, it did not happen. So sometimes it will happen if you will have too much line on it, on the spool, I guess, but it makes like no difference in performance. Line does not go somewhere, you know, under the spool or something like that, or at least it never happened to me whilst I was testing it. So anyway, this spool design, in my opinion, marks like a good thing in bait casters, because from now I believe Daiwa will notice that spool can be narrower and still cast very, very well, and then they will start making the reels more narrower, I believe, and then us anglers, I guess, will benefit from it, because the reels will get lighter, then they will be less wide or narrower, and it will be nicer to use them as well. And the balance on the rod will be better as well, because the handle won't kind of push the rod to one side. Again, that's just my speculation. But yeah, this is a spool. Very fancy looking, and it has that fancy braking system as well, where it's kind of dynamic, if you like. So it says GekkaBijin Air DW. So basically at the beginning of the cast, this little thing might go out, and it actually it works very, very well. A couple of times whilst I was testing, I kind of wanted to perform a long cast, so I had a good swing, but then at the beginning of the cast I touched some little branch, and in normal situation you would have a very, very big bird's nest. With this one I had probably like half a meter of line to take off the spool, you know, just, you know, kind of, it was not even a bird's nest, just like kind of a couple of wraps of line on the spool. As I say, on any over reel that would be a major problem, and most likely you would not be able to get out of it. On this one, just I was very, very impressed with that. And my assumption is that it was because of this fancy braking system. So this little thing goes into in between those two grooves, if you like, and there all the magic happens. Okay, let's put it back. Also forgot to mention about TVing system. So as you can see, this fancy bit, when I kind of push down the thumb bar or spool releaser knob, this thing kind of is pushed down, if you like, and then it kind of exposes the wider part of that line roller for the line to go at kind of straighter angles, if you like, so not as sharp angles if it would be like smaller hole, you know, in here. And then when you retrieve the line, it goes up, and then we only have like a tiny little groove for decent line lay. Again, I would not call this one very decent, but it does not create any problems when you are fishing, and it's supposed to help with the casting distance as well, because the line kind of, to my understanding at least, creates less friction on the TVing. The TVing is good already, but having a narrower spool will reduce those angles even more. So therefore, light lures just fly with this reel and fly very accurately, as I have found. When it comes to palming this reel, again, I love that shape, and I love, that the handle is bent like that, not like Shimano, straight. It's more difficult than to reach the handle with if you want to reel in with one hand or with your fingers, just like that. So yeah, it's very comfortable, very kind of small feeling, but not too small, just comfortable. For my taste, this is ideal, really. Alright guys, it will be it from me for today. I hope you'll find this video useful. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.